Hello. Hi, Amy. I had a pretty good weekend. I hope everybody's well. It's me, Annalisa. Sorry, my hair's like wet. It's me, Annalisa, my spiritual friend. It's Sunday, March 30th. Neptune is in Aries. A very auspicious time for me, apparently. I am a 0 degrees Aries rising. So apparently, some of the blocks I've had for my whole life, just kidding, for at least the last 14 years are going to be removed. Apparently, we'll see. um, it was a good but busy weekend for me. I was trying to catch up on everything, emails and stuff that email readings people had, and trying to keep up with them. We went to the Liberty Science Center yesterday for Girl Scouts, and they were doing a secret agent badge or something like that, and that I know the whole name. But we also went and saw this Titanic exhibit, which was pretty cool. So, and then the usual ice skating lessons, swimming lessons, etc., etc. Okay, wait, that's what I'm looking for. See if it's on the right account. It's not. Now I have to do it here. I have to figure out how to get it. Who's here? Say hello. You know the drill. So I've got a payment for Amy, and that's it, which is fine. I'm not saying that, just saying that's the only one I have on the list right now. Hi, Katrina. How are you? So, Amy, what's your question? We can do, if nobody else wants to have a question for personal ones, we can then do to jump to current events if you guys want. No problem for me. I should really stop. Anyone? I did this really cool. So it was weird. Yesterday was really warm here. Friday was like in the 60s. Yesterday was like 78 or something like that. And then today is in the 60s again. And then tomorrow is going to be in the 70s. And then it's going to be like in the 50s or 40s. And then in the 70s. And like it's kind of all over the place, literally every other day. After seeing you with your friend recently. Okay, let's find out how Grace feels about you now. Let me set this down so I feel like I'm more attuned instead of thinking about this gigantic lollipop. Okay. Do you know if Grace goes through depression? And I say that because it's like, I feel like it piques her curiosity, but I also feel like a sense of indifference, but I don't feel like it's like an indifference to you. I just feel like it's an indifference to life. It's a feeling of like, I just feel flat. Like my energy feels very flat. Oh, I just read your question, Nicole. She might, because it's a feeling of, I just feel like indifference. I also feel I almost feel like a connecting with your energy, a sense of a letdown. Um, just like maybe hoping there was some result that didn't happen, like hoping that she would have a certain reaction that didn't happen and feeling let down by that. It's funny. I was trying to feel if your friend is more than a friend, but I didn't feel that. Is it? Is your friend more than a friend? You felt an overwhelming sadness. I could feel that. I want to ask you this. I guess this is the friend part of me, not the psychic part of me. What is it about Grace that you're so drawn to that it's like you it has to be her? You don't have to respond for it here. My point is to start looking at it like that, and what does being with her mean to you? Because I feel like when you start to answer those questions and like really genuinely answer them, it starts to give you a little insight into like what the block is or what the get is. And it's like maybe there's this drive to really want to have her more subconsciously because she's not reciprocating. And so that allows you to not have to fully be vulnerable with somebody. I still feel there's an aspect here of like still needing to kind of work on the self-concept stuff and what follows I am and what you're worthy and deserving of. And it isn't that I don't feel Grace is a good person. I just sort of wonder if it's more wanting something. It's not that you can't have her because you can, but wanting something that feels a little bit safer. Because I think my feeling is, my sense is I try to move away from the word think because that puts you in a solid, like not ethereal world. Your left brain instead of your right brain. My feeling is that she is. And also there's this energetic thing that happens because if the world is you pushed out, right, that sort of creates a stopgap. I was trying to explain this to a client earlier, and I want to remind you that, like, when we have blocks, energetically speaking, to what it is that we want, sorry, wrong side. This is so stupid. I feel I'm way more interested. Right. But here's the thing. Some of that interest can come from where it's like, would you be way more interested if she was really, really interested in you and like all over you and really into you and like, or would that scare you away and push you away? It's like, my question is that deep interest really because there's a subconscious belief that it's safer to like someone that's like not fully available for many reasons? I feel like she has some stuff going on, honestly, like just needing to deal with, because like I said, feeling kind of indifferent to the world and like maybe having some depression. But my point is like when you are attracted to somebody who's not fully available, then you also then there's a safety in that because you don't have to fully make yourself available. You don't have to make yourself fully vulnerable to somebody else. But when I was talking with my client this weekend, it was kind of like there's belief systems that she holds, and part of it is she was saying like, I do this because I don't want to feel like there's something wrong with me if I need the reason for it. And I said, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with you. And I don't believe that like the subconscious, deep subconscious stuff, I don't believe that that's fair to take. Like you don't have to be at fault. Like, oh, look, there's a problem with me because it's not about being at fault or something being broken with you. It's like, it's just there. It's like the coding in the computer got put in and it's old coding that worked and was necessary when the computer first started, but now it's running better. There's more options and opportunities out there. And we see that, and there's other ways to run it to where it would be more efficient, or it would be right. So if you can take the like, sort of like take this sting out of it and understand that the programming that we get subconsciously from family members and from society and everywhere else isn't there intentionally, and you're not doing it to be a like because there's something wrong with you. It's just the coding is there. that it's safe to like, and yes, even though you don't tell her, even though you don't tell her. So this is the interesting thing is I think that people don't really understand about, even if you can't read energy, it doesn't mean you're not picking it up. Like, even if you're not certain of the energy reading, it doesn't mean that it's not energetically passing and moving. So it's the thing about like, I'm sure there's a study done on this sociologically of like, if there's a group of one gendered people in the room and like say a group of another gendered people, you can tell who is too needy or wanty or whatever. Like you can see there's certain things that turn you off and you don't necessarily know what it is. It's not about looks. It's an energetic thing. Hang on. I'll ignore you, Katrina, don't worry. I think that subconsciously there's messages and psychically there's messages that get passed along all the time between us and information. And I think a lot of people don't realize they're reading it. It's just there. And it's the thing that like, when people are like, why don't they like me? It's like, there's literally nothing wrong with you. It's just that they are subconsciously reading your subconscious energy that's going out, because we all are interconnected. We are all deeply, deeply interconnected. And the idea that, hang on, to give some more time on Roblox. The idea that you think that it doesn't is, well, I don't want to be rude, but archaic. What do you mean Grace told you look at the signs before? I'm going to eat this. Sorry. Again, I don't think she's not attracted to you. I don't think that that's the issue at all. I think she's probably in a little bit of depression state. The other thing is I'm going to say this. I think, and maybe this is me being 46, where I'm like, if you don't know, just ask. Like, what's the harm in that? If you don't know, just ask. I don't like these glasses as much. I don't like them. I just can't see. If you don't know what someone means by something, ask. What do you mean by that? I'm confused. You mean like that? I have no problems asking people about clarity anymore. I think part of that came from like something that really helped me do that was being a nurse. And people will ask me now, like, why are you repeating it? Why are you? And I'm like, because I was a nurse, and being extremely clear on communication is really important because people's lives are at risk. And so I learned to just ask and be very clear about stuff with people, because even if it's not life and death, I don't want miscommunication. Even my kids get annoying with it. Yeah, I know. I get that you freeze. So it's not, like I said, it's not that she's not attracted to you. It's just there. I do feel like there's like depression or something going on. Yeah. But why don't you do the experiment of doing, if you're not comfortable doing that, you have bipolar, you're depressed. Yeah, that's okay. But I'm feeling hers. Definitely it's not yours. It's separate. So I am encouraging you. Do you get my emails every week? Are you on my mailing list? If you are, then you should have seen the card reading today. And it sort of talks about this of like working on your self-concept work, because that's like part of where you're going to is being, very Piscean, which is like that's like the where you step into where you're working towards and what you're healing. And that's like, being really intuitive and being deeply connected with yourself. You're not. Ma'am, go sign up for my emails. How dare you? I'm kidding. Go sign up for them because I give a little card reading every week. And so it's like you get the reminder that we're doing the YouTube. And then you pulled a tarot death card when I asked about my hip surgery. Next month, can you tell me anything about that? The tarot, so the death card's not bad. It's just transformation. So they're transforming your hip. So it feels like, it's just a feeling of like, and then we're going to keep going back to this, is like working on your self-concept stuff and practice manifesting, like have fun with it. Because really and truly, like nothing I tell you is going to be this, like, it's like energetically, this is where it's at, but it doesn't mean you can't shift it. But I really encourage you to look at the idea of like, what do you think being with her, what does that mean to you? What will that represent to you? What will that give you that you don't have now? What will that make you feel that you don't have now? What does that say about you if you're with her and you're not, versus what you are now? Because I think then that gives you a better jumping off point to understand what you need to shift in your what follows I am. Like those are the things that are actually deeply blocking you from connecting and developing a relationship. I sort of suspect, this is my intuition, that once you start doing this, grace is no longer going to be the focus of your desire. And so, because somebody else will have stepped in and moved into the picture. That's just my feeling. Shiny foreheads, all that lotion. I don't put on really any makeup for these, for anything really. You're welcome. Hmm. Okay, Katrina, and then Julie, I'll give you more in depth about your surgery, but I just didn't want you to panic about the death card. Okay, Katrina, we'll do yours. Hi, Sachin. How are you? Okay. Moving closer to a career or life purpose that's fulfilling for my soul. No, that doesn't have to be your one question, but if you want to talk about it more, you can. I just saw that and I know other people see those, so I didn't feel like that had to be like the death card, like doesn't mean, oh my God, you're gonna die. It's just about transformation. The Lover's card I saw somewhere a while ago. There was a tarot reader who's been doing readings and probably done more readings of books and things. I talked about like the Lover's card not really being about lovers, but actually talking about two choices, like needing to make a choice between two things. So there's different interpretations. So I just didn't want you to, like, whenever, and if anybody pulls their own card and they see the death card, don't automatically think that terrible things are on the horizon. It's just transformation, and transformation can be really good too. Okay. Are you Amy, or sorry, Katrina says, am I moving closer to a career or life purpose that's fulfilling for my soul? I want to get past this idea before I answer this for anybody that we have a purpose that we're here for, and we have to go in search of this purpose to make us feel whole and complete and all of that stuff. And I say that because there is no one purpose that we have. And maybe this is my sort of black and white thinking that like makes me feel like I have to really say this because maybe neurotypical people don't think this way, but like everything that we do is purposeful. And I sort of think this idea of like when people sell you something that's like find your purpose in life or whatever, I feel like that's a bit I don't want to say smarmy, but like it's this idea of like anything in life when people are marketing, right? They're marketing a product. They're like, and if you think about if you ever did like a invention convention kind of thing, it's like find a problem and solve it for someone. And I was even thinking about this the other day, like, you know, all the vitamin C serums and things like that. They're like, it makes your skin really amazing. Well, so just taking like the right amount of vitamin C, just taking vitamins. And like my skin, I started taking, this is a lot more than I would recommend for anybody else, but I'm doing it because it's supposed to help with histamine intolerance stuff and like overproduction of histamine, which it really has. But I take 4,000 milligrams a day. I was gonna say 4 grams a day, and divided doses. Like I take one in the morning, like I take 4 doses, one of 1,000 each dose. My skin looks fabulous now, by the way. Like close up, not just with great lighting. But it's this idea of like selling you something to just make money off of it. And I think that's why I had a really hard time for a long time of like selling my own products because I'm like, I didn't want to be smarmy about it, right? Um, okay, so that said, so I kind of don't believe in this purpose thing. And I know you're probably like clarifying. Um, so like so smooth and like not very like I was having issues with really dry skin and like you could see all the little fine like and really like I don't know whatever. It's like it's been like looking so good. Anyway, vitamin D and vitamin C, they're your friends. Um, okay, so that said, so anyways, it made me think about like all the serums and stuff I bought. Like, just like it's got all these things in it. It's like I'm literally just gonna go like back to just a simple face wash and like no 50 steps and this like what is it called? Beef tallow lotion that also has cocoa butter and other stuff in it. And then that's it. Keeping it simple. And yeah. Okay, that said, the other things when people are like, "Oh, I have to have a career," I'm like, "Why?" I don't want to be like. I used to think that too. Like you have to have the one career and then like you're that forever. And I'm kind of the thought process now of like, no, you don't. Like you can do lots of things, and I actually sort of feel like you're going to have. Um, Happy Sunday, Julia. I sort of feel like you're going to have several things that come in for you where you're doing more than one thing. Um, I don't. I see. Oh, I don't know what this product is. Um, but I kind of get this feeling that you're going to have a small business that does kind of side stuff for a little while. Because I don't know if this is like a farmer's market or a craft fair show or something. Because all I'm seeing is like I actually feel like you're indoor, so maybe it's a farmer's market that's indoor. I don't really know that exists, but who am I? Um, but I just feel like I'm standing and I have like tables set up around me and they're covered with something and I can't fully see the product itself. But it's this feeling of like doing this but I still feel like I'm doing this, like I'm still building it. So that's why I still feel like in the background there's this other job that I'm doing that is the one that provides me the benefits, the health insurance and stuff like that. And I actually feel like the idea is going to come to you in about 3 months' time. I don't know that you're getting it off the ground in 3 months' time, but it's like feels like the idea happens then. Um, I also feel this is interesting, like a voiceover thing or something like that. Have you ever thought about that? That might be something down the road, like for reading books. I don't think there's one thing you're going to do. And I actually think that's what drives your soul is like not doing one thing, but doing a lot of things. There's multiple sides of my personality that are creative and also intellectual that keep kind of pulls away from each other. It does make sense. But what I'm saying to you is my feeling is there's not one thing that you have to do to fulfill your soul, and that doing the many things is actually what fulfills your soul. Sorry. If this irritates anybody, just say like, can you stop? And I'll totally stop. I don't care. And if you're watching this over, which I don't know who would, because I need to stop manifesting that actually when I'm like, I don't have the hours. Sorry. Yeah, but that's the thing is like, why do you have to, you're like, it might be your ADHD, but like, why do you have to subscribe to an idea that's put in place that's like, you're supposed to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life at 18? Meanwhile, like, what if you live to 102? Like, why do you need to know that early on in your life that like that's, and why do we only have to have one thing that we want to do? Why is it not okay to do many things? Now, I can argue the one thing that unfortunately the way the United States is set up with their healthcare system, you sort of, if you want affordable healthcare, then you sort of do get tied to this, like that idea, have to subscribe to that idea. But that's not going to be the way it always is. Now, I've said for a long time, it's got to get worse before it gets better. And like, it's kind of sucking even more now, but, I do feel like changes are coming. But I think those hobbies can become like where you're making a little bit from it, but not killing the dream so much of it that like then you don't want to do it anymore. So years ago, somebody asked me like, "Why you should open up a bakery?" And I was like, "Yeah, no," because I liked baking different recipes and perfecting them and getting to like the way I liked them and thought that they tasted the best, and had like the best texture and all of that stuff and density, blah blah blah. But I don't want to do that full time because then I'll hate it. There will be no joy. It will suck all the joy out of it. I like doing readings a lot, but I don't want to just do readings for people because honestly, it does like get very exhausting. I could never do readings when people are like, oh, you must make, I could not do 40 hours of readings a week. I couldn't. I would be um, so disconnected from myself as a person, because my energy would be so connected to other people all the time. It would just be not joyful at all. But that's why I like doing other things. Like that's why I'm like I really need to get that community up and going. I'm like it's really yanking at me right now, and I know I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna do it. Um, I was even talking to my astrology. She's my astrologer, but she's also my friend about like just feeling really stuck lately. And she's like, it's the planets. They're going to be moving. They're going to be moving. You're going to get like really. Right. A master, like, but a jack of all trade. What is like the Finnish part of that is like a jack of all trades, master of one is better or something like that. But it's like actually better to have more diversity. It serves you better that way. I mean, I guess I've gotten even when I was like, it was funny when I went to in high school. So this is in what, my senior year. So in 1996, in the early like March of '96, I was there. Um, I was in Spain. I stayed with a family, and I learned like a lot of people do trade schools there. Like that's much more common there, and it was so looked down upon here at that point to have. I don't know. I guess I've always sort of said like, no, trades are going to come back, and people are going to start doing that and doing, you know, approaching schools differently because the bachelor's thing isn't going to like pan out long term, like where they're pushing everybody to be in college and have college degrees or 4-year degrees and not encouraging the trades. And it's like, I've always been a proponent of like, it doesn't have to happen the way everybody says it has to. I had a friend when I was like, I was already a nurse. I guess I was like 25 or 26 at the time. And she was like, but I'm still in school. And I was like, and we were the same age. And I was like, so like, that's your journey. Like, can you learn to be okay with what your journey is, even though it doesn't look like everybody else's stuff? So like one person's journey may be to like go full throttle and just be, the same thing for the rest of their life, a dental hygienist or an attorney, whatever. And another person's journey may be to like, like even a cousin of mine, she was like, oh, she went to school, she got her PhD in biochemistry, and then she went and became a patent agent and got her patent agent license. And then she decided she wanted to go back to law school because of doing this, and she became a patent attorney. And now she's a stay-at-home mom who doesn't use her law degree at all. And her husband's a programmer or whatever. Maybe he does well enough for them that they don't need to. The full quote: jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So it's really just this idea of like your journey doesn't have to look like somebody else's. And like this idea of like, oh, I don't love my job. I'm now in my 40s and I started, and when I thought I was in my 20s, I was going to love this. And now I don't. I don't know that you're in your 40s, but it's just this idea of like you change every 3 years. Like who, it's not harming anyone. And like somebody might be like, oh, you're always changing. You're always doing something different. And how does it harm that person? Is it a problem? Is it really a problem for them? Or is it that you're doing something that challenges whatever they find their safe zone to be? And what does that reflect about them? And why do they feel that way? Like it's somebody's judgment is always more of a reflection of them than it is of you. What their safe zone is, what their limitations are, what the barriers that they put up for their own um, growth and journey. So that's what I see. Like I kept seeing like more of a like I don't want to say being in a trade show, but being like selling something like of your own, but then also having this other job for a while. That might be a few years where you have this other job and then you branch out. But I still feel like even what you're doing, you're going to have multiple streams of income. It's not going to be just one thing. And not because you don't do well enough. It's just like, again, it's more exciting to you. It's more of a dopamine getter to do several different things. And oddly enough, I feel like you actually do better when you're a little bit busier and have more on your plate than you do when you don't have anything going on at all. Like you handle that better, that multitasking better. And maybe that's the pressure of deadlines and time, like because you feel like the time crunch, it pushes you to work harder than where it's like, mm, all right. Okay, Julie, did you want to further elaborate on what your question was? It's funny, I have to tell you, because the tablecloth coverings look like red picnic table, that checkered pattern. They're red and white. And there's yellow, which I don't know makes any sense, but I don't know why those two colors. Maybe you're making cheese. Just kidding. Who's here? Say hello. You're lactose intolerant, then I guess you're not making cheese. How do you see your hip surgery helping you? Or do I, because that, you can ask that one. I want to ask it differently, because that to me, I'm like, well, isn't it obvious? Like you can walk. So let's look at kind of like, I'm going to look at the surgery as a whole, like how it goes, how post-op goes. I actually feel like you're going to get increased range of motion, because I feel like right now, if you pull your leg up, like you're really not getting a full, probably like, I think like if you were to pull your knee up to your chest, we'll call that 170 degrees, because it's not a full 180, right? Like from down to all the way up. I actually feel like you're getting to about 85 degrees and having a lot of pain when you bend your leg up. And you're actually going to get full range of motion. You're going to get increased range of motion from this surgery. Now, I never took care of a post-op hip, because I didn't work in ortho. I worked in like postpartum, antepartum, GYN surgical my first couple of years, and then ER for like a sneeze of a minute, and then in NICU and peds and stuff. So, and kids don't typically have hip replacements. What I do know is they get you up pretty quickly and moving, like within 8 hours. And so I feel like you're going to get up and moving. I don't know if they normally put a drain, but I feel like for some reason there's a drain, or there's something, because there was some kind of oozing, but they're like, there's just something about like it's weird. I see it like as a bubble of liquid, but I don't feel like this is infection. I feel like this is like, they know this is happening and they're intentionally having this drain, and then they pull it. Hi, Regine. Is the yes for the range of motion bit, like you're at like 85 with pain? So I feel like you might need a drain or something. There's something there where it's like, okay, and it's like, it's just oozing a little bit. Like they're not very concerned about it. Do they keep you for 3 days? Is that right? 3 days? 2 nights? I feel like you'll be there 3 days. Or they keep the drain for 3 days, or something about 3 days. And then physical therapy, and I feel like you get your range of motion back. You're doing great. Like you're going to be great. I think the only complication is like maybe a little bit extra oozing, and they put this JP drain in, Jackson product drain in. You thought you could go home that day. So there might be a little extended stay, or having the drain for 3 days where then they pull it I don't think you'll go home that day. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think it's a day surgery. I think it is, unless you're somewhere like in Europe where, they don't keep you as long for stuff. And I think some of that's just, let me just look up. 1 to 3 days. So you're at least one night in. So I think you might be there 3 days. And then I just think PT and you're good. I actually feel like you're going to recover a lot better than you imagined, like very quickly. I feel like 2 months out, perfect. It doesn't mean you don't struggle, but I just feel like 2 months out, it's like all the incisions are healed, everything looks great. Like that's where you're going to really feel great. The woman I've had her as a coach before. She's not my current coach. She is one of my daughter's coaches, and she coached both of them today. Just long story, but she had, I think, both of her hips replaced. I can't remember for sure. One of them. That woman is spinning and doing like she's incredible. So you're very welcome. I didn't do anything but share a message. So your doctors are doing the work and your body's doing the work and you're doing the work. So okay. Doodly do. Okay. Do we have any other questions, or do we want to look at? I think Nicole mentioned wanting to look at the whole Justin Bieber thing. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, so I didn't get yours yet, Julia. Do you want to just ask your question, and then I know you're good since you've been here so much. I know that it'll come through, or you'll pay me, or I can harass you or something. You know how to find you on Instagram. You can block me, of course. But I guess it'd be lesson learned. Someone said something up here that I was confused about. Maybe they deleted the comment. No, Sachin said I actually lost my people who were friends for 5 years, and it happened during a specific divine festival. It's a divine intervention to elevate me. Not like looking at this specifically, but I will tell you when things fall away, there's usually reasons for it in the sense of like you've energetically grown in some way where they're no longer in alignment with your highest good. And so they sort of fall away. Should I try and part X my blue car now, or wait? What do you mean part X? I just don't understand the question. And maybe that's, I don't know what that means should you try and part X, or it's either a typo or it's a Scottish saying I don't understand. Oh, sell part. Wait, what is that? What does that mean? Sell part exchange. Is it just to sell it? You guys say to exchange it or part with it? Hi, Makeup by More. Is that a different way of saying that? Buy a new one. So wait, but that's a saying there? Interesting. Hi, KK. That's why I was like, I don't know, maybe it's a saying there that I don't know about. Like, I don't know. We have different sayings for things. Like, oh, I learned. do you say this? So we call this here in the United States, everyone I know calls it snapping. But apparently in the UK, this is called clicking, which it makes a click noise, but we call it snap. Hi, Jolie. Click. Yeah. So things are different. Okay. All right. So should you try or wait till next year? Wait till next year. I feel like better deals next year, better or more stable deals, better deals. I also feel like there's a better model coming out. So whatever it is that you're looking at, it feels like it's maybe like the first edition of a new model. And they're saying just like wait till the next one because like the glitches get taken out of it with the next edition. So wait till next year is the feeling. Okay, makeup, buy more. Oh, look at you with a different name. Okay, what's your question? Well, you have a new screen name. There's nothing wrong with that. Could you give me your boyfriend's first name? Lanes. So I heard yes, but he's giving you the runaround. I feel like he's just not taking accountability and not answering questions in a way that makes you feel like secure in the answer he's giving. Um, I feel like there's a shift in the relationship in like 2 months. I don't feel like it's for the better, but I'm happy to be wrong on this one. Like, I hope you come back and you're like, lady, you were wrong. He's amazing. I just feel like there's a lack of accountability and also kind of dismissive behavior that happens where he says things like just dismisses your feelings around a situation or it's that idea of like, well, I apologize. Like, why aren't you over it? That kind of thing. I also feel like he's kind of a victim. Like he's always the victim. Like, oh, I kind of think it's going to last about 2 more months and then it's just sort of done with it. I feel like you're sort of stepping into a different energy. I said this a while ago, and obviously there's exceptions to the rule, but I feel like dating's going to be hard in general for the next, like this is now for maybe at least another year or so. And a lot of this just comes around the fact of like, I really believe with the shift of Neptune into Aries, like for women as a whole is an awakening to the systems that are no longer working, and dating and relationships don't really benefit. They don't benefit men or women, but truly don't benefit women. I think when we have systems of patriarchy and we have systems of they harm everybody. It's not just one person, so it just feels like really over the next, I used to say like 18 months. I've said that for a little bit. So I would say probably like year or two more still. And it's still going to fade out. It's just not like it's been a year. Why isn't it all different? Like, it's not like that, but it's like big shifts are happening where men are going to start waking up more to seeing how patriarchy harms them as well. And how, when they're not allowed to be fully themselves and they only have to be this one aspect of themselves, and they're always like, what's this idea of like, when you get to see the full diversity of everybody, it actually like builds a society up, rather than if you're holding half of it back and not allowing them to be their best, it actually harms everybody. And that happens in relationships too. So I really do think Neptune and Saturn's also going to be moving in. There's going to be bigger shifts around that. And obviously those two planets are very slow moving planets. So, in 30 years, relationships are going to look much different than they look now. And the dynamics of relationships and dating and marriage are going to look very different. But this is the beginning of that. And not to say that you're not going to be in a relationship, because in 30 years, it's like, it doesn't really work that way, but it's just like, this is that push. So I do feel like they'll initially get a little bit better, but I do feel like in like 2 months, you're going to kind of be done with them, to be honest. Julia, I got your payment, by the way. It's funny because, I'm not really one who likes to do big collective readings because, and again, I have very black and white thinking in many aspects. It's not in bad ways. It's just like I used to never want to do any kind of card readings at all or whatever. And then I realized that or teaching people to use cards, or using their intuition as they're reading cards and things like that, because I've thought, well, it's really cool that you can just trust, you could be anywhere and just trust your intuition, and not have something else that they're using as a crutch to break through your psychic side or whatever to connect. But I also think that now I sort of had this like epiphany that was like, but those options are there. And so as a good teacher, I should be willing to learn all aspects, and share all aspects of that. So that's why I've started doing some little card readings here and there, just, for fun, but also like, I like cards. I think they're enjoyable, and I don't want to be poo-pooing things that, maybe you would feel more comfortable learning that way and connecting with your intuition that way. Maybe the connecting directly into your intuition, even though I believe you can and everybody can, feels too overwhelming and scary. Oh, synchronicities. Oh, happy Mother's Day. I forget that like other places have Mother's Day on different days. I think Canada does too. Canada's in. Was Canada's this in April or March as well? I know their Thanksgiving is in October, which honestly I think is much better, because it's like hard to have all those holidays in such a crammed amount of time. Same as US for Canada for Mother's Day. Like, plus then we do the Christian and the Jewish holidays, and Jesus Christ. That's a lot. We just do like, we do a pretty laid back Hanukkah. We don't really do any of the other holidays, even though Hanukkah's not really the big holiday. Well, did you do anything special for the day? Or are you guys? All right. And anybody want to ask any? You want to do the general questions now? Are y'all ready for that? And then, shit, I got to get my taxes together. All my paperwork. My husband's our accountant's gonna be annoyed with us. He's like, I have to file for an extension if you don't get it to me by this weekend. So procrastinate. I've got a lot of the papers like printed up. I just have to go through it really quick. Julie said, in Europe, we have been told to get prepared for outages, war, get emergency pack of water, candles, food, etc. Do you think scaring us all to create a distraction of war is imminent? Okay, I'm going to say this. I want to put this into like what I heard. They said 3 days, right? Have 3 days of stuff together for war. Now I want you to look at this. When I heard that, I was like, oh, give me a break. 3 days? Really? That's what they tell you for a hurricane. Like for war? Come on. I'm going to tell you that I don't believe war is going to look like what I don't believe it's going to look like what like they have in the past or what's going on in Ukraine right now. I don't believe that. That's not my feeling. My feeling it's going to be like, maybe power outages, certain systems down. But I still don't feel like it's all going to really happen. I have to be honest with you about that. I do feel like there's a lot of fear mongering that happens. Like, even when I hear some of the stuff, like, okay, so I'm going to put this where I was like, I heard that Peter Thiel, who was like one of the founders or writers of Project 2025, is like, it's working beautifully, better than it expected. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. And when someone brags about something doing so much better than it is, then it's really like fucking failing miserably. That was the feeling I got. It's like, oh, he's just selling you something. And that it was like, my guides were like, no, it's not working. Now, that doesn't mean that you rest on your laurels and you're like, everything's fine. I don't have to call my congressman anymore. I don't have to be really involved. It's actually failing miserably because they did not expect so many people to protest and fight and go to these town halls. They definitely did not expect any of the Democrats to go out and be doing all of these meetings and connecting with people in a way that's not about vote for me and raise money for me, where it's just like where you see Bernie Sanders and AOC and I can't remember his name that I just saw, who I really like actually. People are going out to meet in town halls. Democrats are in deep red areas to connect with people and show them that like, this isn't right, what's going on. So I feel like it might be like if they're doing outages, Wi-Fi, there's a little bit of like inaccess to like maybe your financial stuff, but nothing lost. So it's just like, so it creates a little bit of panic, but nothing lost. So have some cash on hand and I would recommend not big bills, but have like a whole, have some money that's in the smaller bills and smaller forms of payment. So it's easy to go in and buy food or exchange things or whatever like that. Even then, when I was like connecting a little bit earlier, like it's a lot of just thinking and then getting the information. I don't know how to explain it. It's like wondering, that like the moments of wondering and thinking. It was interesting that like, oh, the reason why they're going after, the students that have visas and taking them without knowing, and ICE is doing all the shit that they're doing, is because what they realize is they can't do the impact that they thought they would with the farmers and taking the farms and taking all the workers from the fields, because they're getting a lot of blowback from other industries of like their other billionaire friends of like, you can't do this. This is ruining this, like, so they're like, okay, we can't do that. So like, what else could we do? Like, and so their idea of like trying to create panic is by taking these people. That's going to fail too. So their foresight is just really murky. They don't have it. And I really think when Peter Thiel starts saying things like, I think it's Peter Thiel that's said it, but when he's saying things like, oh, it's going better than expected, it's like, absolutely, it's not. It's absolutely failing miserably. Like everything in me was like, yeah, you're full of shit. Hi, Lauren. Good to see you. So I just feel like they're going to say things that are going to make you nervous and make you panic. Like there's this thing going around now on TikTok where it's like 2 or 3 of the professors, like professors who taught fascism or whatever, they've left the country now. They're going somewhere else. It's like, okay. And I don't mean to be like, okay, whatever, but like the reality of Americans really being able to leave is there's too many of us to go somewhere else. I'm going to be really honest with you. So I sort of think that's a fear mongery thing as well. Do I think that what's happening here is it's not going to go as far as they want it to? Lauren, if you really want to get a question, you can. I was just doing generals because no one else had purchased one, but if you want to ask one, you can. You don't, Jolie, you donated for one? Okay. I'm not signed into the right account on my phone and I can't get the passwords to like whatever. So that's why I'm doing it on my computer, but then I don't get notifications for it the way I do on my phone. So that's what I feel about like that is like, it's like, we're not going to have the same kind of, and I'm going to say the reason why we're not is because as much as they're like boys with toys and like, they're like, I've got the biggest nuclear weapon and you know, like that kind of stuff, like my nuclear weapon's bigger than your nuclear weapon, that kind of thing. None of them are really looking to destroy anything that way. I decided I'll do health readings on Trump, Elon, and maybe Putin. I'll look at them first. I'll do those ones first for doing. And I can't decide if I should do them. I probably won't do them live. So that way I'm not interfering. Like I'm not like also like I'm not as spacey, but then I'll, or maybe what I'll do is if I do them live, my only fear is like, I don't want to attract the wrong people. I guess even most of the Trump followers I have, they're pretty respectful. I had one that was really just not very nice. Mm-hmm. It's $12, Lauren. They're all $12. I think I am gonna increase when we do mediumship. If someone asks for it again, I think I might have a different rate for mediumship because it usually does take more energy. Okay. Julie, what's your question, by the way? Because I'm just rambling now. I've been really good, everybody. I've done 2 full weeks of walking 10,000 or more steps a day, plus my Pilates, plus I do ice skating. And despite me eating a lollipop right now, I really am not eating much sugar or anything, so I'm really happy for that. And vitamin C really, really, really works for histamine intolerance stuff. Lauren, I got your payment. Okay, so it came through that way. That's weird. See that. Let's see if it works. Not working. Who knows? You're a coach and you're thinking about incorporating some sort of financial service into your practice, meaning coaching about finance stuff. Oh, financial and life insurance. Okay, so you're totally fully qualified and licensed, right? Just kidding. Yeah, I actually feel like that works really well for you. It's like there's no where I'm like, nope, don't do it. I actually feel like it works really, really well for you. Um, I'm trying to see your picture because I'm like, I don't want to. Can't do what I want to do. Okay, I feel like yes. First of all, I just see you working with young men in particular. And I don't know why, but like, not to say that women can't, but it's just like I feel like maybe in underserved communities, um, this might be something that you offer like as a side thing versus like your main part of coaching and adding the financial stuff into it. But I just see that happening in underserved communities, like teaching underserved communities how to financially invest and make their money work for them. Maybe people who haven't really gotten a lot of financial literacy. Because again, when we all do better, like when we're all doing better, we're all lifted up, like everything does better. This idea of like, it's so strange to me. It's not that I think like everybody should be lemmings and have like the same amount of money or whatever like that. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be some like there make more money, but the giant wealth gap that happens is so it's like not that just because such a huge proportion of people are now struggling, it's just that it doesn't help even the people on the higher up. It's like it's so strange to me that they can't see that. Finances now, I think it's strange that we don't get also taught just practical things. There was such a push for a long time of like STEM and academia, but like I think like even now my kids don't learn cursive, which I'm like, why not? Why wouldn't you learn that? And why wouldn't you take a typing class? Like they don't have an actual typing class. So, and my oldest didn't take, but she's, I don't know, like why not do little skills like that? Or why not have, home ec and it does all lead to improving communities. Absolutely. So it was cute. We had a discussion yesterday I drove my daughter and then her friend, who's also one of my troop members. And they really like Stranger Things, that show. And they were talking about Indiana. She's like, I want to move to Indiana. I was like, you don't want to move to Indiana. I was like, no, you don't. And because like the Midwest is very, very different than the Northeast. And I've lived in the Midwest, not Indiana, but Wisconsin. And I mean, yes, there are some larger, more progressive cities, but like I was like, yeah, you don't. You don't. It's very different. It's very different. And she's like, Yeah, but it'd be really hard for my and these girls are like 12, to not live in a liberal community, and I just thought it was cute. I was like, "Oh," in our diverse community. It was just cute to hear her say that. But anyway, raising a bunch of liberals here. All right. Okay, Jolie's playing. Lauren, what's your question? And then I'll answer Nicole's question about Haley Bieber. What did you like clarity on that? What you want me to what you want to know? You're welcome, Jolie. I'm excited for you. Come back and tell us how it's going when it gets launched. I totally understand some of that stuff takes time. Speaking from experience. I just like hearing about people's success because I think everybody needs that encouragement. And you can easily look at it and think like, oh, it's never going to happen for me. It only happens for other people. Or you can take the perspective of that's just birds before land. That just means it's coming in. There's a few things manifesting for me. And every time I will see something pop up, instead of thinking like, oh, when's that going to happen to me? I think birds before land. Money management is 1,000% underrated. And how to invest and stuff like that is 1,000% underrated. Which would you like it on, love or career? I mean, I guess we learned a little bit about, and I don't know if I took it and remember what the high school class was. It was a history class, maybe, or economics or something. And we learned a little bit about the stock market, but it still was like so over my head and like how to invest and where to put money and blah, blah, blah. Like it was still, and even when it's not that when people start talking about finance stuff, I seriously do sort of glaze over where I'm like, someone's got to find a better way to get this to my brain. 'Cause there's certain things where I kind of understand and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that. Like I'm not like an idiot, but I also get a little overwhelmed. Like there's a million different apps that you can invest through. And so my husband does a lot of the investing, but you think love. Okay, perfect. But I still like sort of glaze over when people like I have friends that are in finance and stuff like that and talk to me and I have clients that are in finance and I'm always like, it really is like, and it's just like, I feel like it's kind of the same for astrology though too. Like I love astrology and it just took a while for me to really kind of like go, okay, this is this. But also when I look at the market intuitively and I'm always like, it's just a bunch of emotional weirdos like out there. Like it's like all these emotional things. I'm like, what? Like talk about women being really emotional. It's mostly men in finance, not that it's all men. Okay, so I get that that's a generalization. Okay. All right, Lauren, I'm all yours. Um, so I do feel like love is coming in. Like I just feel like this little bit of bubble of excitement. But I also feel like stop second guessing things. Um, so they're sort of saying your intuition hits where you're getting like that feels like a little bit of a red flag, but not in a bad way, but just like where you're like, oh, I have a little bit of concern about this or that. It's like just trust that. Stop second guessing it, waiting for other people to come in and tell you. I actually feel like whoever you're going to be dating he's like 28 right now. So there's a little bit of an age gap, but it's not huge. Um, And he's actually kind of different than you. Like he's not a creative type in the like his career is definitely not creative. It feels more corporate, maybe finance. I don't know. He feels like he wears a corporate uniform. So think about that, like nice dress pants and a shirt. Um, the guy you're talking to is 36, but he seems like he's 28. Um, is he corporate? I just feel very different than you. I also feel like he's does that guy play an instrument? So I'm using this as an example. My stepbrother, and I guess I don't know if it's really considered corporate. I don't know where he's at in his, but he's a civil engineer, and but he played drums growing up. So it's like he has this bit of an artistic side to him, but he's really very left brained or right brained. Now I'm all confused. Is it right brained is artistic? Left brain is very analytical. I think that's what it is. I think what I'm feeling is like when I say trust your intuition around the guy that you're talking to, where you're like, there's doubts there. Like there's just certain little red flags that are coming up, and maybe other people are saying things like no, just like that's being you. Like you're just like trying talking you out of that a little bit. I feel like don't ignore those flags. Um, wait, so maybe it's over with this guy. His name is Brad. It it's not. I'm not saying like leave him right now. It's done. I just feel like they're sort of wanting you to trust your intuition more, and not question it, and not think like, oh, maybe I'm just, nervous. It's like, or maybe you're actually picking something up. Um, they're giving me examples that I've had in relationships before where it was like, I did not trust my own judgment. And there was things that weren't making me feel very good about relationships, and so then I was like talking to somebody about it and got advice to stay in it. Oh, it's like no big deal, blah blah blah. And I thought that this person who had been in relationships, more relationships than I had, and longer relationships, so I thought they had some kind of wisdom I didn't have, and I ignored it, and it was much to my detriment. Instead of just listening to that little tug and that little nag of like, this doesn't feel right. It's not like abuse, it's not like, but it just feels off, and I can't quite put my finger on why. Or it was like, then that was question of like, maybe I'm being too petty, or too like, maybe I'm just being too nitpicky. But it's like just one of those things in the line of a whole bunch of other things. So it's like I told my daughter before, like if someone, she has a friend who she asked her not to do something, and like it was around her hair. Like these little girls were like started brushing her hair out. She's like, can't brush curly hair out. It makes it really frizzy. Please don't do it. And they kept doing it. And her hair's not quite as curly as mine, but um so she told her friend, that really upset me that you did that. And the friend was like, well, it's just because she's like, because it makes it really poofy and I don't like that. And the friend was like, well, you just don't use the right hair stuff. And I said, pay attention to people when you ask for a very minor thing and they can't accommodate that boundary or that request. That's absolutely minimal, because you deserve better than that. It's that feeling of like, it's just something small where it's not a huge breach, but oh, yeah, I'll let you catch up. And the feeling they're giving me around you is like, you have done a lot of growth and like trusting your own intuition and trusting your boundaries and having healthy relationships. And so this is sort of one of those tests where it's like, now you're putting it into like the real world, and like, can you then learn to trust that and own that? And they're saying like, it's okay for you to like stand on business. Like, I don't feel like there's been huge grievances. It's just like little things have popped up where you're like, and it's sort of this idea of like, you don't have to act on it and totally end the relationship now, but like, instead of totally dismissing your concern or that like intuition pop up of it and being like, oh, I'm just being this or that, or maybe I'm just like too quick to want to push people away. It's like, no, trust that and like put it aside in a little mental box of like, this was a concern of mine. And when I have enough in there, then maybe I'm going to be like, this is a pattern now. Hang on. I just got a huge hit from I feel like maybe I didn't, maybe it just scrolled up weird. Hang on. Oh, hang on. I always do this. I forget to put it on live chat instead of top chat. Yeah, you're definitely right. I have some trouble with establishing difference in between fears and intuitions. Such great advice from Julia. We always think that we know that other people know better than we know ourselves. It's crazy what an intuition is your best defense. Absolutely. And he makes me feel really comfortable when we're together. So I'm like, yeah. So what I'm saying is like, you don't have to automatically be like, this didn't work. So it's like, well then, because then maybe you are being, but I think it's really good. Like I said with my daughter, is like, you don't have to like end the friendship or you don't have to end this situation, but like sort of like tuck it in your, like, this is like a little note, like this is my little detective note. And you don't have to necessarily look for stuff, but it's like, is this how I want like full time to be treated? Or is this something I should be concerned about? Is this their character or who they are? And when you establish a pattern, then it's like, this might not work out. Remember that people who are giant red flags, typically when they're not, they're always putting their best foot forward at the beginning of a relationship. So when little things like, when you're in a beginning of a relationship, like literally best foot forward. So like when you start to see things pop up, remember that might be their best. And if there's red flags on their best, promise when it's like settled, it's not. So it's not like I'm like, I generally don't feel like he's going to be the one, but I can be wrong. There's plenty of people who I've done readings for them. They're like, I'm staying with them. There's a reason. I'm like, okay, free will. Like, that's just what I get in this, is like, there's a lesson for you to learn to trust that intuition and like, then also not poo-poo it and not feel like you're being too, rash or quick about it. That it's important for you to just, like trust that and not doubt yourself so much. The other aspect of that is that, one, you're still really young, and two, you can look at it from the point of like, okay, I see this red flag coming up. Then you practice your manifestation. Is like, well, what might that be a reflection of? What belief system of mine might this popping up be a reflection for me? There's that part of it. So you're not ignoring it and you're not dismissing it. You're just like, and can I manifest a different outcome? Because when I was going through all these relationships before I really understood manifesting and belief systems and stuff, I didn't know that aspect of it, that everything is a reflection of me. And so I was just seeing these things and then thinking that somebody else out there has more wisdom than me and I should listen to them over what my intuition was saying. Was like, this makes me uncomfortable. Instead, I could look at it and go, this makes me uncomfortable. Okay, well, what self-concept work should I do to then create a different outcome. There's a crack in this, and I'm trying not to have it cut my tongue. You're very welcome. I always think there's like other ways of doing this. Like, you don't have to just be like, no one's ever going to show up now. It's like, well, no, that's not true either. You can always just think like, what are these little things? And we can, shift on that belief system itself. It's so funny as I'm like doing all these questions, I'm like, oh, that reading that was in the email, I feel like is so poignant for this. So if you're not subscribed to my email, you should be. All right. Okay. So wait, Nicole, are you still here? Did you want to ask, what were you asking about? Do you want something more specific about your old situationships keep trying to come back? I mean, sometimes people need a good poke. If it was a good poke, then, just kidding. You can also like, some of that could be just like the idea of like, only the people that aren't good for me show up in my life. That can be a belief system that you're held. And like, so then shift that. I will never, ever, ever poo-poo anybody if they want to have one night stands or friends with benefits or anything else. Cause like, whatever, like, we're all grown-ups here. If you're not a grown up, you shouldn't be having those things, but I'm assuming everybody here is above 18 and fully capable of making decisions for themselves. Okay, so Nicole, are you still here? You were asking about Haley and Justin Bieber and Benny Blanco, and what did you want to know about that? First of all, I think a long time ago I said I thought Benny Blanco was like not great for her. I still have like, so he's doing all these, he's really like I've seen a lot of interviews and he seems like just a really nice guy and he's totally celebrating her and like seems like very healthy or whatever. But the skeptic in me is still like, I don't think he's a bad guy, but I'm like, something's still there. Like I'm still a little, You think you have a mindset that keeps attracting guys who are emotionally unavailable. So it might be like, oh, guys are never emotionally available, blah, blah. And some of that, I'm telling you, some of that is tied to like just shifts that are happening cosmically. So I think like this Neptune into Aries is going to make some of that shift too. It's like changing old systems, awarenesses and changing old systems. And old systems were that men aren't emotionally available. Like it wasn't considered masculine or whatever. And so you're going to start seeing more shifts. And maybe like the Benny Blanco thing is like where he is kind of like openly talking about like, well, why would you like make them feel like crap if you could just like, doesn't mean you have to agree with them and give in to everything, but like if you can do it in a way that doesn't create all of this like craziness, why wouldn't you do that if you love them? So like there's part of him that I'm like, oh, I really like him. Like, okay, I was totally wrong about him. Like I can own that. Yeah. And like my own little flags, like there's still something else there. Like he can't be that perfect. Just my 85th email or text or call, like both the schools call and say like early dismissal, which is probably honestly really good because I have forgotten an early dismissal once. And they're like, where are you for pickup? Because my kid I had her walk instead of take the bus. I was like, what? Oh no, this is a bus one. So, okay. All right. So Nicole, are you still here? Maybe you're not still here. She asked about, see if I can find this really quick. I don't know where it went. Maybe I can't. Oh, I can't get back all the way back there. She asked about a way in the meeting. So, okay. So I think I know there's like a weird thing going around about like, all right, I'll look at Justin Bieber. Oh, I think he crashes out at the end of May. So I don't know that it'll be announced, but I have a feeling he'll be like a rehab stint. I know some people like have read like, oh, he's gonna die. I don't feel that. But I definitely feel like kind of a crash out, like hitting rock bottom finally. Um, Maybe mid-May. And like, I'm going to say this too. Like, there's weird connections, like with her following Selena, like doing all different kinds of things that are very similar to her or whatever. Um, I, my sense is that she has kind of a self-esteem issue. And I also feel like some of it's kind of coincidental and like a stretch. But you see that too, where people are creating content and they find stretches for things to get to this solution, like um when they're doing like the celebrity gossipy type stuff. um I actually do feel like Selena and Benny will be a good couple together. I don't think he's like as perfect as he's presenting, but I think that they figure out a way to make it work. um he is refreshing in many aspects of like not being like the typical celebrity dude. Um, and maybe that's sort of how, um, they like some of the things that are going to shift is like the public image and celebrities and all of that. And like people awakening and changing systems, like where people are no longer celebrating celebrities based on uh, the flashy parts of it, right? Um, it's going to be like upholding people that are more down to earth and connected and um, relatable, authentic. So there's that. There's like a weird aspect that still like hangs on right now that I've experienced on a sort of very peripheral experience where it's not going to be like there are still so many aspects where people are so into things on based on status and like like if you have the right clothes. Like there was a circle I was in, and one of the women, and so like was run by this one woman who was like, I call it fame adjacent, right? Famous adjacent. But like somebody in the circle, I'm not, I don't want to be like it was this person because then whatever. Somebody in the circle mentioned a comment about like wanting to have the right clothes to show up in their friend's house as like because if they didn't have the right clothes they would sort of be shunned. And so that kind of shit's going to go away. um like those kind of people won't be famous or won't be upheld to they'll be old fame type stuff, but that kind of behavior won't be upheld anymore. Bullying and manipulating and gatekeeping is not going to be upheld as much anymore. You think? Hi, Jules. So things will shift. It doesn't mean like just because I'm saying that, like, oh, it'll happen abruptly and be like done. It's like, it's just like gradual because most things don't change abruptly. Um, it's just not the way humans work. So anyone else have any general questions? If not, I'm going to go because I've got to get my taxes together. And I've got most of the stuff printed out to send to him, but I just want to make sure I have it all. Is everybody done? I'm waiting like a minute. Again, with like the stuff with Trump and all of that, yes, it's alarming, and Hegseth and all of that. Somehow I just feel like it pans itself out. Like it just like it's not going to be like one person coming in and saving the day. It's like a whole lot of different little things that come into place where it's just all like um it blows up in their face, so to speak. Not literally, just the saying, not making any threats. I saw Trump, I had that vision years and years ago of Trump being in handcuffs and standing in front of a podium and like kind of being led away. I still feel like many more people are going to be going to jail. So just time. Just takes time. All right. I don't see any other questions for general readings or like general whatever's going on politically, etc. So everybody have a great week, and I will see you next Sunday. Thank you. Julia said, have a wonderful week, everyone. See you all Sunday, and love your emails. Make sure everyone is signed up. Yep, sign up for the emails because I just send little readings along with, I do like a little quick card reading with a reminder that we're doing lives here. So you get a little fun little card reading. And I've been using different decks every week. So I have a lot of decks. So they're just fun. Anyways, have a good one.